All right, we are live here at Patty's Aquatics. This is the Waterline, where there are no lids, no filters, and only real talk here in the fish room. And today I have a special guest, Scotty from Razin Fishes. Welcome very much to the live stream.
Hello, hello.
Yeah. So, I've wanted to have you on for a while since I started doing my Below the Dirt live stream. But obviously it never worked out because of your schedule with your church obligations. So I wanted to find a time basically for you to be able to come in, because I wanted to chit chat with you face to face through this computer or phone or whatever, and really, because we talk quite a bit here and there on comments and like on Messenger and stuff like that. So it'd be nice to get to know you a little better face to face a little bit more.
Yeah, awesome. I'm glad to be here, and it's good to get invited and jump on. I've followed your channel for quite some time now, so it's been pretty good.
Nice, thank you. I want to say hello to Warren there, popping in on the chat. How's it going on this beautiful Saturday? I don't know how the weather is by you in Texas, but it is hotter than a pistol here again for me on Saturday. It's like 90-some degrees, and I'm hibernating in the air conditioning.
Same here. I mean, I had to go fill my outside summer tub again. The evaporations tore it up. So,
Nice.
So I filled it up, and I did water changes today, and was on Jesse's live stream. So it's been busy.
Nice. Busy social media YouTube platform today.
Well, I do Jesse's every Saturday morning.
Okay.
And at the same time, I do a lot of maintenance, on Saturdays. Of course, I have a spreadsheet I use to keep track of all my maintenance on all the tanks. So when I open it and I see red, so get to work.
Nice. Yeah. After you said you did that, I watched in your videos. I don't go the computer route, but I bought a little dry erase board, and then I wrote down all my tanks and then my water changes when I do them, when I did them last, and when I fertilize last in each tank, and then little notes, because that's the hardest thing I always found for myself, especially now that I'm back to fertilizing my tanks all the time and the water changing. It's like, when did I do it last? I can never remember. So now I write it down so I don't forget.
Yeah, I started with a dry erase board, but this room, it's a spare bedroom, and it's really tiny. And I'm just like, I don't have room for it. So it's easier. I just built a spreadsheet, wrote a bunch of doggone parameters for it to figure out, whatever.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, maybe I'll upgrade to that at some point. I do have a little, I call the laptop, it's a little Chromebook. I use it for some things. Like right now, I use it for the chat, for looking at the chat for the live streams. I initially got this thing to do live streams on. I never tried it yet. I don't have a microphone hookup for it. I never got around to it. So one day I'll get to that, so I can have my phone free, because I actually use my phone for the live streams. But
yeah, like I told you when we first started talking about me coming on, I've got a Sony camera, and I've always wanted to try to get it hooked up to use as a webcam or whatever, so I can talk to my dad via, the camera, because he's in an Alzheimer's facility at the VA. And so when you said, hey, I want you to come on, I said, well, let me try to get this thing figured out. And I watched YouTube videos about my specific camera, and they say, here, you can do it, no problem. You don't need a capture card or anything. And yeah, that's a lie. So I ended up buying a capture card, and as soon as I bought the capture card, just like that, works perfect.
Nice.
So I'm happy with that.
Hello, Maul from Aquarium Delirium. Hey, Aqua Botany TV, and hey, Mike from MC Aquatics. How's it going, guys? Yeah. I guess what we could start off talking about a little bit today, if you want, really is the summer tubs. It's something I think that we both have a mutual love for, obviously, if you watch your channel or mine. But I absolutely love the idea of putting these fish back outside. I'm not going to say in their habitat, because obviously it's not their natural habitat, but to really be seeing them outside with those lights from the actual sunlight, their feeding behavior and stuff like that. It's just completely different than watching them within your tanks.
Absolutely. I have Madaka rice fish and just guppies out in my, well, I have some three baby plecos that in this tank back here. My plecos bred, so I got baby plecos in a whole bunch of tanks. I put 3 of them outside. It's 150 gallons, but if you've seen my videos, the tank is so heavily planted you can't see in there unless you start going stick your face in the water and blow bubbles or something. But
you need to get a pair of goggles. You need to stick your face in there and watch them.
Yeah, but I was really amazed at my guppies. Their colors, the males, are just like, they're nothing compared to what's in this tank. Let me point that one. I mean, the coloration outside is just beautiful. I just can't say it enough.
Absolutely. I did guppies the last 2 years outside. They breed ferociously, I'll say that much as well. And I did mix of guppies and endlers. I took some of everything that I had in my fish room at that time. I had a lot of guppy and endler mix in different type of varieties, and I threw them all in there, and I got hundreds of them at the end of the summer. It was just crazy the amount that I got, and just the color patterns of them was just amazing as well. Excuse me. This year I went a little different route with the rice fish, and I also have the white clouds out there. And I have the 2 tubs that are just rice fish. One of them are from the ones I got from you, which, by the way, thank you. I want to touch on that in a little while. But the platinum blue rice fish, and then I also got some King Yama orange ones. For my big tub, I initially put all my white clouds in there. And the water turned green. I didn't see anything for weeks, and I didn't really know if they were still alive or not. And I wanted to see some action in that tub, so I threw some more of those blue platinum rice fish in there. Some people are like, well, they're going to predate on each other, and I get that. There's always that possibility, but holy crap, man, did I tell you, Scotty, I was out there yesterday looking. I have baby white clouds swimming all over the surface, and I pull eggs out of there all the time too. I do have spawning mops, but I found one. It has to be a rice fish, but it's almost got like a tannish orangey look to it, and I don't have those rice fish in there. So I'm curious to see what this thing's going to be. It has to be one of the platinum rice fish, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking at the end of this summer, possibly getting rid of all of my Madakas, the platinum blues, and get a different species of them, a different color of them. Because I've been doing the platinum blues for 2 years now. I started out last year with about 6 or 8 of them, and I don't even know how many I got anymore. it's a ton of them. And my guppies out there in that pond, you're right. There's probably 400 or 500 babies out there easily.
Yeah, it's crazy the generations they can go through breeding within one summer compared to what you would have in your aquariums inside your house.
Yeah.
And the rice fish, I can't get them to breed in my house. The Madakas, anyway. I've seen the platinum ones I got from you. I've seen a couple females with eggs on them finally in their tank here. But like those the orange King Yamas I got, never seen them for like the year I had them until I put them outside. Then it's just eggs galore.
Yeah, I had the same issue my first year with the platinums. I had them in a tank and couldn't get them to breed. As soon as I put them outside and the Texas heat, the water warmed up, man, them things just bred like crazy, and they continue to breed. And I bred a whole ton of them this spring with, spawning mops. And so I haven't had a spawning mop in there in, I don't know, 3 months, because I had so many eggs, and I've already growed all the fry out and I already put them in the big tub. So.
Yeah. See if this works. Does that work? Is that showing on there? Yeah, I had got it to work. Hey, by the way, welcome, Graham. Graham's asking, why do you think that they breed better outside? They're asking maybe it's the sun. Honestly, all I can really think is just that outdoor environment. You got that plethora of food from everywhere within that aquarium. Those tubs for them to feed on. The heat, I think the warmer weather and the warmer water, I think maybe that speeds up their metabolism a little bit more. Maybe that the temperature switches too from night to today. You know, those how the temperatures can fall and rise by a few degrees. Maybe that's triggers it. I'm not really sure, but that would be my guess at it.
Yeah, I mean, in my experience, the hotter it was for the rice fish, the more they bred.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so when I first had them out there, it was I was getting like I think the water temperature was like in the 60s. So I wasn't expecting much, but it took till I got my first hot days, and I was like starting to be like, well, why am I not getting eggs from anything? And all of a sudden I went out there and looked at those spawning mops, and there was just poof, eggs everywhere. I'm like, started my breeding operation down here now with these rice fish.
Yeah. And, I saw a video of yours a while back that you were showing your CPDs in a tank that had gravel in it and you had fry in there.
Mm-hmm.
And, I've got CPDs in a 10-gallon tank right here in front of me. I don't know, there's probably 8 or 10 of them in there, but it's a sand substrate with a bunch of guppy grass in there. And I've had them in there over a year, never seen that one fry.
No.
So I was talking with Jeff Kane, and he said, yeah, you got to do something different, kind of isolate them. And so I saw what you'd done with gravel. So that's what I did. I took my 5.5 gallon and I threw gravel in the bottom of it and did what Jeff said, grab a few of them out and throw them in there for a week.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that and put the parents back in the 10-gallon. And in my 5.5 gallon, I probably got 10 or 15
nice
little fry now.
Perfect. Perfect. Yeah, that's awesome. That's initially what I had that little 10-gallon set up for, was to breed those the CPDs. I was going to take some of the male and females, put them down there for a while, let them breed, and then put them back into their main tank. But then I started seeing the fry popping up in my tank. And like I said in that video, that's purposely why I put pea gravel in the aquariums with my egg scatterers, just because there might be a chance that some of those eggs could fall between that gravel and maybe have a shot at hatching compared to like sand or something like that, where they probably have an easier chance to get at them. But I wound up putting 3 of those fry that grew up a little bigger back into that tank. They are not swimming with the pack yet, but I have seen a couple more babies in there I have siphoned out. But I plan on setting up one of my 10-gallon tanks that I have up above my Oscar tank. I'm redoing them, and I'm going to put some of the CPDs in there and let them kind of grow out in like a heavily planted tank is what I plan on doing. And then I want to get back to maybe pulling that tank and making it a breeding tank for them and try to pump out more numbers. Because I would like a couple. I really like those fish. They're so skittish. I don't know how they are for you. They're very skittish, but the new ones are not. They're swimming all over the top and the surface and in front. The other ones, as soon as I come up to the tank, they go back and hide in the. I don't even have much plants in there right now because all those crypts that melted back. But yeah, that's one thing I wanted, maybe heavily planted, will give them a little bit more cover, a little more security to be able to want to come out a little bit more, I'm thinking.
Yeah, my CPDs are exactly the same way. Now, if I walk into the room, they're swimming all over the tank. But as soon as I sit down at my desk, back to the back corner, hide by the sponge filter or in the plants. But you're right, the babies are all over the place in that little 5.5 gallon. So,
yeah. By the way, hey Ed. Ed says he uses a spawning mops and he fills a 5-gallon halfway with the mops and removes the adults after 3 to 4 days. It's a great idea too. Like anything just to isolate them from getting those eggs is going to probably make you a heck of a lot more being able to be successful compared to not, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I did like what Jeff said. Just put them in there for a few days and then take them out and just wait. And next thing you know, he called them eyelashes.
I tried this with white clouds. I tried it a few times with a 5-gallon bucket. I seen a video from, what is his name, over in Australia.
Adrian.
No, he's got his own fish store. Oh my gosh, he makes his own.
Keeping fish simple or whatever it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
He makes videos about how to try to breed fish and stuff like that. And I saw how he made a video on breeding white clouds in a 5-gallon bucket. I'm like, I got to try this. So I went to the Hobby Lobby. I bought some mesh and I put it in that bucket and I put some white clouds in there with their water. I tried it numerous times and it was never successful for me. And it kind of baffled me and I want to try it again. So I have my gold white clouds still in my fish room here in one of the tanks, and I've been fattening them up with baby brine shrimp and frozen brine shrimp the last like week. So my plan is yet this weekend is I'm going to do that, I think tomorrow, and put them in there again and see if I can just give it one more go and see if I can get it to work. Because I find that stuff interesting, really trying to think out really outside the box and do these DIY type of ways to try to breed the fish. It just makes the hobby more fun.
Yeah, and your white clouds, when I watch your videos, they're beautiful. I mean, they are stunning colors when they're colored up.
Thank you. Yeah, the gold ones I got those from Akahuna. And then the regular white clouds I got those actually from, he is the owner of a fish rescue in Wisconsin here, up in the Appleton area. And he throws a fish swap twice a year. And I usually, if I don't vend at it, I usually go up to it. And I actually bought some of them from him, but he actually gave them to me because I did a bunch of food and products to him when I did a swap a while back for him to be able to raffle off. So he's like, here, just take them. I'm like, okay.
Good deal.
Yeah, I'm not going to say no.
Well, that's like, I don't know how long ago when I reached out to you and said, hey, would you like to try some of these Medaka rice fish eggs? And because I had so many of them, and I'm like, I've never mailed them before, but we tried it. But it took us, 3 times for it?
Was a couple times we got it, And speaking of that, that's what I wanted to talk about earlier is like, I appreciate your generosity, and that's the kind of stuff that really makes this hobby great, in my opinion, is to be able to help other hobbyists out and help them see, find things like that. And I've been talking to somebody else that's on the chats quite a bit, and he was interested in some of those rice fish, and I told him I would give him some once the ones I'm hatching out grow up a little bit, because he lives here in Wisconsin, not too far from me. And he's like, well, how much do you want? I said, nothing. I'm giving them to him for free. I'm paying him forward the same way they got paid to me. So yeah. I just love that idea. And I just, again, I'm very grateful and thankful for your generosity with that, because I absolutely love these fish. They got me into rice fish.
It's funny because there's a lady and her husband that are in my church, and he owns a farm, I don't know, about 40 minutes east of us here. And they have ducks and horses and chickens and all that. Well, about every 2 weeks, I give them big bags full of plants out of that pond. Well, they in that mix of plants, I don't try to shake anything off. I just grab and pull. They've got baby rice fish. They've got baby guppies. They've got shrimp. All comes in with that stuff. And she's just tickled pink. So she's got a little bowl of rice fish out there. And she every time I hand it to him, she looks for little babies all the time.
Yeah, what I found weird, back to the summer tubs, was the amount of eggs I get from the different species. Now, those ones I got from you, those things, there's more of them than I have the orange ones, those king yamas, but I get like probably at least 20 eggs a day from them when I go out there and check their mops. The other ones, I had a stretch, honestly, of probably like 3-4 weeks of maybe finding 1 or 2 eggs. I know they have them because I see them in the morning. They're all on their bellies. So they must be putting them somewhere besides my spawning mops, because there is a lot of vegetation in those tanks, I'm guessing. So I was trying to be a little clever. Well, I think I'm being clever. I'm like, okay, I had all the spawning mops I had in there were those like Brillo pad ones that I rolled up and cut and put on this pool noodle. They weren't really laying on those anymore. So I said, let's switch it up. So I got some yarn, and I made some yarn ones, put those in there. Then I got some right away. Then it went dull again. And then all of a sudden now they're coming out of nowhere again to breeding more. So it's really cool to see that. It's just, it's frustrating because those eggs are there.
and that's the king yamas you're talking about?
Yeah. Those ones I got from LRB Aquatics.
Yeah.
Those are cool. The color of them are awesome.
Yeah, I like them. They're pretty. I seen, I can't remember. I think he was in Japan. He's a rice fish guy. And I think it was black Medaka rice fish. I mean, they were like dark velvet black, and they were beautiful.
Nice. Yeah, there are so many different color variants of them too. I was almost thinking next year of getting another tub and just mixing the platinums and the king yamas together in one tub and isolate them from everything else and see if they wind up breeding together, what they look like. It goes back to like those days of having the guppies and endlers. if I put this one together and this one together, what do you think I'll get?
Yeah. Oh, it came out as a pleco.
I got a northern pike. How'd that happen?
Maybe that net I pulled out of the lake had stuff on it.
Oh man. Well, I'll tell you one thing that's a downfall of the summer tubs. I have this bush that's right over one of my tubs, and I seen a nest in it, a bird's nest in it. It was like about a month ago, a few weeks ago, and I've been seeing these cardinals flying around my backyard, male and female. I'm like, there's got to be a nest somewhere. I just thought that nest I saw in that bush was a dead nest, like nothing was in it. Well, I was in there feeding the tubs one day, and then all of a sudden I hear the male on a line behind me just chirping and chirping and chirping. I'm like, oh man, I bet you that is their nest. I just happened to look. I didn't move the branches, but I could see through the leaves there was a baby in there. I'm like, all right, cool. I go to the dad. I'm like, don't worry, I'm not going to touch your baby. She's all safe. I ain't going to touch her. 2 days later, I come home from work and I go out in the tub. I'm like, what the heck is that in my tub? A baby fell out or tried to jump out, went right into the tub face first, and wound up drowning in my tub. That I heard, because it was so bad and sad, because that dad and mom stuck around all night long chirping on the lines for her, or for the baby. I felt so bad for him, but I mean, it's part of nature. It sucks. So that's the one bad thing about tubs: the animals that could get in them and die for you.
Yeah, I got white-winged dove, a lot of them here, and I see them because I have security cameras. I have a camera right above my tub just to keep track of predators, possums, raccoons, and all the other cats and everything else that are in the neighborhood. Well, I've caught several times a dove will land. I have a couple of metal bars that go across the tub that hold my upper above the water filter. Well, they'll land on that, and my plants are so thick now, I've watched them jumping and landing on the plant and drinking water and then fly off. It's like, come on.
Yeah. I have there's a bunch of sparrows and finch that fly around mine. I have that little Papa Soap solar powered pump, and they'll sit on that little fountain part on the middle of it when it's not running. And I could tell sometimes too, because there's bird poop on it. I'm like, ugh. But that's another thing I learned after last year, that I need to treat my fish when they come back in, because of the parasites they can get, especially from those birds pooping and stuff into your ponds. So I had some of my guppies wound up getting sick and real skinny last year from them. I'm assuming that's what it came from anyway. So I do plan on treating all of them when they come back in, just to be on the safe side anyway.
That's good to know, because I didn't ever think of that.
Yeah, I never seen it the first year. It was that next year. Like I said, all of a sudden I kept them all in one tank, and all of a sudden a lot of them were getting like deathly skinny. I'm just like, this isn't right. I mean, there could be other causes to it maybe, but that was my thinking from being out there, because they were all from outside. But
yeah.
Anyway, so
I think I'm going to keep my rice fish out there year round, because they can live in the cold water. The guppies, the guppies can't deal with, once the water hits like 50.
Yeah.
They tend to, their numbers dwindle pretty quick.
Yeah.
But the rice fish, when my water gets cold, they go down to the bottom, and they just they're like a goldfish almost. They get dormant.
Yeah, I kept mine outside until Thanksgiving last year, but I put heater in it. So I was like, I tried to stretch it as long as I could last year. The weather wasn't terrible either for me in Wisconsin last year until well after Thanksgiving. So this year, I don't know about that with the rice fish and the white clouds. I'll probably wait. It depends on the weather. For me around here in Wisconsin, I can probably stretch it with these type of fish until October for sure. If I want to throw heaters in there, I could go longer, but I probably won't do that. I'll just, once it's that time when it starts to get daytime temperatures that start to get too cool, I'll bring them in.
Yeah, I have a heater out there, because when I first moved it out from the garage this spring, we had a cold snap came through, and the water got down in the 50s, the low 50s, and all the guppies that were in there, all the adults anyway, they all died. The rice fish were fine, but I put a heater in there, and next thing I know, I'm seeing guppy babies. I'm like, the babies survived, but the adults didn't. It's like, I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah. Yeah, they are a little more temperamental. Last year I had that pond on top of a pond, and I had a bigger pond on the bottom. Then I had a bunch of bricks with a smaller one on top, and I put a pipe through the bottom. So I had a pump that pumped the water up to the top, and it would flow down into that bottom one, so it would kind of cycle each other through. Which, by the way, kind of sucked. The idea was awesome, but once that starts to clog up, I'd come home from work and my big tub would be half empty because the water's overflowing over the top one. But
Right.
anyway, so that happened once where it got too clogged up, and then it got too cold that one night, and the water wasn't coming up to that first one and the top one anymore, and all the guppies I had up there wound up dying because the water temperature got so dang cold that one night. I'm like, oh, it was like the first week I put them in there too. Yeah.
Yeah, and didn't you have an issue where your what you call it, fish jumped out of there?
Yeah, that was my white clouds.
White clouds, yeah.
I had them in one of those tubs out there last year. It was the first time I was going to attempt to breed them outside. I had gotten 10 of those adult white clouds from that rescue owner, which are the ones I have now. And I put them out there. I put 6 of them out there just because I didn't want to throw them out there just in case. Legit, within a matter of 2 hours, I was back out there because I'm obsessed. I want to see where they are, what they're doing. I go out there and look, and I don't see them anywhere. Like, what the heck is going on? I'm looking all over. I'm moving the plants. I'm moving this. I'm like, I'm confused. And all of a sudden, I look behind. Freaking all 6 of them are all dried up and dead behind there on the concrete. I'm just like,
Yeah,
that one sucked.
yeah. I had, in my big tank behind me, I've got that red Oscar, and I had a albino Oscar. I bought them together. They were same size, about inch and a half long. And the albino, I come in on a Saturday morning, feed all my tanks, feed my fish. And I'm looking. I says, "Where's my albino?" He's laying on the floor, dried up. He hopped out of the tank, knocked the top loose. And I'm like, God darn. And he was probably 7 inches at the time when he jumped out. And he was beautiful. I mean, he was very little red on him, just mainly all white with pink eyes. He was a pretty fish.
Yeah,
So now it's just, I keep on top of there what do they call it, the diffuser panel or crates or whatever you want to call it.
Great. Yeah, I got those in a lot of my tanks because they're cheaper.
Well, I do it here because, I'm not like some people that keep their house at 65 degrees. I can't deal with that. I'm kind of old, and we keep our house at about 78, 79, and that's comfortable for me and my wife. And so my tanks here, they stay pretty warm. Like my big tank right now it's 82.4 right now.
Nice.
And my 75 and my 40 breeder, they're both sitting at 80 degrees. So the tanks stay warm. And this room is probably 79 to 80 degrees with all the tanks running and the lights on. It stays warmer in this room than any other place.
I agree. That's hot.
Well,
everyone's got temperatures.
Well, like I say, my wife she's Korean, and if it's below 90, she's freezing. So how do you say happy wife, happy life?
Oh, I get it. I learned to adapt to that. Me, we have air conditioners. We have window air conditioners in our house right now, and I set them at 67 degrees. I give me coolness. And then I work in a factory during the week for my job. So, and it's hotter than a pistol in there with no air conditioning and just sitting in your sweat and grossness. And there's been a few times I've come home and my wife hasn't had it on. And she's like, "It's not that bad." I'm like, "Woman, listen to me now. Turn the air conditioning on," and I'm standing in front of it for an hour. Like, I need to control this. I'm a fat man and I need air.
I'm with you there. And I actually bought a portable AC unit, and I keep it in the closet. So I bought it intentionally just to keep this room cool. And I used it for a little bit, and it's like, it's so freaking noisy. I'm like, yeah, I ain't going to use it. So I got a brand new portable air conditioner sitting in a closet that I ain't using.
Well, you never know when you might need it, Scotty.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to eventually move everything out in the garage, but the cost to insulate the garage, put a mini split, build all the shelving for the tanks. And I have a 3-car garage, so I would partition off the 2-car garage away from it because that's where we park our cars, and just have the 1-car garage for the tanks. It's just a lot of money. And, both me and my wife were retired, so we're on a fixed income. We only get paid at the end of the month. And, between my retirement and Social Security, I don't make a big pot of money,
No, I hear you. Yeah, my wife has already told me once, she's like, why don't you put everything out in the garage? I'm like, do you realize what that'll entail? One, like you said, the garage is not insulated. The door's not insulated.
Yeah.
We live in Wisconsin. Our winters can get below zero, well below zero in the winters. Do you realize the amount of heat that's going to have to get pumped in there nonstop after insulating it to keep it where we want it? I said, probably not.
Right. And then the opposite side of that is Jorge. He's moving his fish room out of his garage and downsizing. But, he lives in Arizona, and it's like Texas. I mean, it's actually hotter than Texas there. And his garage wasn't even air conditioned. So, I mean, his tanks, I know, are smoking hot.
Oh, God. You go out in my garage right now, it's like 91 or 92 degrees out here right now. If you go in my garage right now, holy Lord, you're going to sweat just standing for a couple minutes. I did it yesterday while I had to get a few things together. I'm like, okay, get me out of here. Get me out of here. Couldn't imagine being in there a long period of time, especially if you had tanks in there.
Yeah, I have a 20-gallon tall out there right now, and I also have it's a plastic Walmart tub that's been a green water tub that I raised all my rice fish fry. Now they're sitting out in the garage, but the 20-gallon tank, I have Florida flagfish in there, a pleco, one Siamese algae eater, and a couple of guppies. And that tank gets really warm. I don't have a thing to test the temperature, but I guarantee you it's really warm.
Oh, absolutely. That's why I'll cool mine outside down those tubs with some cold water here and there. Like yesterday I did. They're kind of low from evaporation anyway, so I kind of topped them off with like an inch of cooler water, stuck my hand in the tank, and it really didn't feel like it made a difference, but I think maybe it did. And the problem is I see that we have a lot of rain coming in our forecast. I think they're talking for almost like 3 inches of rain coming in the next couple of days. So I'm like, maybe I didn't need to fill those up.
Yeah, I mean, this year for Texas, we had an exceptional amount of rain, all the way up until about mid-month last month. But now we're hot and dry and really hot. We're hitting 100 every day. So
yeah, we haven't had much rain around here the last few weeks. The wife yelled at me, by the way, because I didn't water any of the flowers or anything outside the last week. I forgot. So busy with work, being sweaty and crappy feeling myself and coming home. And then I was outside yesterday with her, and I'm like, oh, crap, they look terrible. She's like, just throw them away. I'm like, no, I'll bring them back. Don't worry.
I'm going to throw fish poop water on them.
Yeah. By the way, that blames me. She had a hydrangea bush some years ago in the backyard, and when I had my puffer tank upstairs, I think it was a community tank at that time, when I would do water changes, I would drain the water off out the back door onto that bush all the time, and the bush wound up dying a little while later, and she blames me. She said the water killed it. I said no, it didn't. It was fertilizer water. If anything killed it, it was the fact that it was falling off my deck probably like 1.5 to 2 feet. And I think it was kind of splashing the dirt away from the ruts. I think that's the only thing I could think that would have killed it. It really sure the heck wasn't the water.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw the latest video I did on mine. I'm working on, with a friend of mine, some nasty tank. It's a 10-foot long tank that's built in the wall. Well, he brought me the other Eheim canister filter yesterday, and I just pulled the top off and dumped it on my yard. I can't remember who it was. Somebody commented on there, well, that's good fertilizer because that's a nasty filter. I called it McNasty.
Speaking of that, do you want to talk about that at all, or you just want to leave it to your videos?
No, I can talk about it. So
if you want to kind of explain the situation a little bit for maybe people that didn't see. they can catch up.
Yeah. Yeah. So I created, first of all, I created a playlist. So there's 3 videos in there right now. And as I go through the process of helping this guy get this tank back, I'll be adding more and more videos to it. But what it is this guy, he's my realtor. My old house I lived in for 35 years. He was my realtor then. In the house I've been now, that I've been here, 5 years now, he's the realtor I used for this house. Well, he calls me up out of the blue the other day and says, dude, I need help immediately. I said, what's going on? He says, well, you know the restaurant, right? I said, yeah. Because he used to own this great big building. It used to be a motel with a restaurant in it, but it had been converted into an apartment complex, and it has this restaurant in it. Well, it has these 2 10-foot long aquariums built into the wall, and one of them they haven't used for years, so it's been empty. You know, they just left the rocks, the substrate, and just drained the water out, and just been sitting there. And then the other one, he's like, it's leaking. We got water everywhere. And I don't know the exact gallons. I'm guessing it's 450 to 500 gallons of water. It's a big tank. So I said, okay, well, I'm going to come down and take a look. And it wasn't the tank leaking. So it has a Eheim 2260. They call it the XL 1500 canister filter. It's a big one, about the same size as a FX6, but taller. And it has an external pump that sits on top. Well, the pump was leaking. So I was thinking maybe it was an O-ring or something. So we got the water the rest of the way drained. And I took the canister filter out, took it home, we cleaned it up. And I put new O-rings and everything in it, and hooked it back up to my 55-gallon drum of water I had in the garage, and started testing it. Well, the pump still leaked. Well, found out it's got a hole. It wore a hole through the pump housing, so it's leaking, and there's no fixing it unless I take maybe like, what do you call it? Baking soda and some super glue and kind of glue that hole shut.
Sure.
But after tearing the pump apart, both of the pumps from both filters, the impellers are bad. One of them is so bad it swelled up and it wouldn't even turn. I had to literally, with a pair of pliers, jerk it out of the hole because it was swelled up. And then the other one just had grooves cut in it. So long story short is I made one good pump that actually pumped, even though the impeller's bad. And I told him, I says, I got it working. It doesn't leak. I says, but there's no guarantee it's going to work for 2 hours, 2 days, 2 months, 6 months. You know, you need a new pump or a new impeller. The problem is that pump is made in Germany. And so trying to find parts is hard. I ended up finding out of Canada, Eheim support up there. He didn't have any impellers. He says, I can get them, but it'll take 2 or 3 months because I got to get them from Germany.
Yeah.
I says, what about the pumps? He says, oh yeah, I got some of them. I says, how many you got? He says, he looks it up. I got 29 of them. All right. How much they cost? And I looked it up online. They were $179 a piece. So I called my buddy up and said, hey, this is the cost. I can get them. So we ordered 2 of them, and they should be here this week. So that'll fix the leaking problem and give them new pumps. But this Eheim filter, it comes with like this huge bag, like this big around and like that thick of carbon. And that carbon's been in there since they had these systems started. So I just threw the carbon away because I know it's no good. And it has, they call it a bio bale, and it's like bent up, shredded, shriveled plastic. And that's their I've never seen it before, first time. But, you know, like I say, it was all covered with crap and everything else. I call it gooberage. I think it was Warren that commented on there. It says gooberage, or maybe it was Lake Missoula. I can't pronounce his thing. But one of them's like gooberage. That's a great word. But anyway, so I ordered, I have sponge material, big, like 2-inch thick sponges the coarse, the medium, and the fine. So I cut some for the first filter, but I don't have any more left. So I ordered a bunch more sponges to get the other one set up. So they're not going to want to do both tanks, set both tanks up. They're only going to want to do one. So I'm going to try to convince them to run both those canister filters instead of just one and the sump. Because the sump is a trickle. So the water comes in from two overflows, and it goes into this little bitty box, and it fills the box up, and then it overflows to this plate that has a whole bunch of little holes, and it just drips down on a bunch of bio balls. And then in the bottom, it leaks out to the bottom, and then it's pumped out back to the tank. So there's no, quote, filtration part of it other than biological. So if I could convince them to put both of those canister filters on there with sponges, that'll keep it good and clean. But the biggest thing is they haven't maintained this tank. They got goldfish in there, and they're 6-7 inch long, but they got 2 plecos that are like a foot long. And matter of fact, he called me yesterday and said, well, because they put him in a small tank right now while we're working on the big tank. He says the big pleco jumped out. I come over there, and he was laying on the floor. I says, was he alive? He says, oh yeah, he's still alive. So they threw him back in there.
Have you seen videos of those things before? They're like almost completely dried out, and they put them back in the water, and they're alive. That's crazy. Yeah,
they're crazy tough. And I told him, I said, because he's got them in a 10-gallon tank sitting on a table right now. And heck, they almost reach from one end to the other just by themselves. Wow. So I told him, I says, if they jumped out again, I says, what we could do is we could just throw them off into my pond, and then we'll have to fish them out, which will be fun because it'll be like digging through the get the beer goggles on. But yeah, so that's the story with that. So the hardest thing for me is I really want to be able to get inside the tank to clean it, and the substrate's like 4 to 6 inches thick, and it's never been cleaned. It's just filthy. So the game plan is to plug off all the ports so no water runs out, and put 4 or 5 inches of water in the tank, throw a pump down in the bottom, just stir the substrate up, keep pumping out and pumping new water, stir it up, get all the dirtiness out that we can, and clean the glass and put it back together. So, but I can't get in the tank because it's only like 1.5 to 2 foot above the tank that you have access to, and I'm too fat to crawl in there. I'll be
be stuck.
Yeah, I'll be stuck.
What kind of substrate does it have?
Huh?
What kind of substrate does it have?
It's like it's not sand, but it's like a little bit bigger than sand, gravelly type substrate.
I was gonna say if it was like gravel, you could rig up some type of gravel cleaner, but maybe PVC piping, like a longer piece, and get a hose to be able to attach to the top of it with a fitting. You could stick it in there with the same sense and start a vacuum and gravel vac it out. But if it's not gravel, that's not really gonna work.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a big pump. It's like a sump pump basically, and that's what we use to drain it off with. But the hose is 150 feet long to get to where it can drain. Like I said, this is a big space where they're at. So, yeah, it's going to be fun. And I don't know where I'm going to hook water up to fill it. I've got to find that out. Probably Monday and Tuesday of this. They're closed on Monday and Tuesday, the business. So that gives me the opportunity to go in there and work while there's no customers. So I don't know. It's going to be a journey. It's going to take time, and I just once I seen that tank, I was like, my heart broke. It's like I can't just sit by and let it go. Yeah. It's just wrong. And I told him, I says, I even told him, I says, I'll volunteer to maintain the tank, if that's what it takes. Because I mean, they're not doing it. Yeah. And so I told them, I said, if they don't want to take care of it right or want to fix it right, then I'm not gonna play it. I won't do with it. You can just deal with what you got. But he says, no, we're going to fix it. I said, okay. So
has this situation inspired you to maybe get into an aquarium maintenance little side business?
no. Oh, heck no.
I'm not gonna lie, it's always something that kind of interests me. I'm always trying to think of ways to be able to get money to come into the house that doesn't involve me going to work in a factory every day. But I don't think there's a want or need for it in the area I'm in.
Well, I mean, I have enough to deal with just my tanks alone. I got 10 or 11 tanks, and that keeps me plenty busy. I am retired, so it's not like I have a huge workload on me. But like I say, dealing with this guy's tank, it's gonna challenge me for sure.
Yeah.
But it's not like I want to do a business of that.
No, I was more joking, but yeah, I get it. I have a similar situation, or not currently, with my oldest son. He always gets on these trends of wanting to get into a hobby, and it winds up being fish keeping sometimes. Like a lot of the tanks I have down here are from him, because he'll get into the hobby, he'll get fish, he'll get big into it for a little while, and then they just kind of sit and he forgets about them. And then he offers me the tanks if I want them in the fish, and usually the fish are not alive anymore, and it's like a thick sludge of whatever, and I get these tanks, and it's just all dried up duckweed all over the glass, and I got to take razor blades to scrape it all off. But I get free tanks out of it. I got a few coolie loaches in this little 2.5 gallon tank I got up there that I got from him. I didn't know what tank to put them in, so I'm like, you guys can have this little one to yourself, I guess, until I can figure something out. Maybe I'll put them in one of those 10 gallons I'm going to set up. But so I told him, next time you get a fish tank, I request you get a big one. I would like 180 gallon, maybe somewhere on that size, something a little bigger. I prefer that next time you get a tank.
Yeah, I mean, that's what this one is right here. That's 180 gallon right there.
Although I don't know where I would put it down here, but I would find room somewhere, even if it's straight in the middle here and I got to walk around it, I will do it.
Well, we had to bring that tank in through the window. We opened up the window, took the screen off of it, put the tank in the back of my pickup truck, and backed the truck up to the window. And I use suction cups on it. So we had 4 of us, 2 of us in the house and 2 of us out in the truck, picked it up, pushed it in, set it on the stand. And I said, thank you. And then I commenced to assembling it, putting the sump together, and I kept it away from the wall and filled it all up and tested all the hosiery and made sure I didn't have any leaks. And of course I had a leak, so I had to fix it. And once I had it all set up and running, then drained it all back out, pushed it against the wall, and then set everything up. And been running ever since. I mean, that's made by Custom Aquarium. So
nice. I think that's out of Wisconsin here.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that would be the one issue I would have with trying to get any bigger tank down here into my basement. My stairs coming down, and there's a tight right angle turn right at the bottom of the stairs. That tub I have outside, my 100 gallon, bringing that back outside was a hassle. I tried to keep as much of the substrate in as I could. Being a dumb doorknob I am, and I don't ask for help. I was bringing it up the stairs, and it just barely fitting, but I had to tilt it like forward to try to get it up over the overhang of the stairs coming up, and the water, there was a little bit of water that was still in it. I'm like, oh God. I made it though. There is a way. Take note of that, people out there.
I can't remember whose video I was watching, somebody on YouTube, and they had one of those tubs you get like I have out in a thing from the Rubbermaid tubs, and he was bringing it in his house, and he has to come downstairs and down this hallway and then 90-degree bend to get into this room. He tore up the walls. He had to take the door off and all this stuff, and he's like, yeah, got to fix some walls now.
Whatever it takes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the 75 I had the puffer in. I initially had it down here because I got that from my son too. And I had it down here in my fish room. And then I had a 65 upstairs with the Oscars in now. That used to be upstairs, and I decided I wanted a bigger tank upstairs, so I swapped them. Trying to get that 75 back up the stairs was a hassle because, again, I don't ask for help for anything, and I wind up lifting it all myself. I put the tank standing up with on one of my feet, and I don't rarely ever wear shoes unless I'm at work, so I'm doing this all barefoot, obviously. One step at a time, like one step at a time. That's a heavy tank.
Yeah.
I can't imagine a bigger one.
And especially doing it by yourself, you know.
Then my fear is always like, oh gosh, I hope I don't pop a seam here. When I fill it back up, it's all gonna leak out on me.
Well, I have my 75 and a 40 breeder on a stand that I built myself, and you know it's 6 foot, 7 foot long stand. And because I had my other fish tanks on a little, I don't know, I built a stand that would hold 3 tanks, and I didn't like the tank on the very bottom because it's like just too much to work on it at the very bottom. So I built this stand. The 75 used to be in my living room, and the 40 was, I can't remember where I had it sitting, but anyway, I had my grandson, me and him, we moved the 75 and the 40 breeder. We just drained the water down to about an inch and suction cups. And a little bit of instructions for my grandson because he's 15, so you got to kind of guide him.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Just don't let go of the suction cup.
Yeah, that's always like one of the bigger like stressful moments if you want to try to move a tank. I had that idea with all my tanks on my one rack over here. I had thought about building them up, but that would in turn taking these all off of here. And at that time, they were all dirted, so obviously it's got that thick substrate, which means those tanks are heavier, and I didn't want to rip all that out of there at that time. So my thought was you drain the water down, you know, to maybe just above the substrate level, and then try to pick it up for myself and put it down onto the floor. But I'm just like, you know, the risk does not outweigh the reward in this situation. I'm just going to keep it how it is.
Right.
But yeah, it's every time I move a tank, I freak out that something that I'm going to break a seal, and then because a lot of these tanks, some of them are older, like the ones I have those CPDs in. I got that tank probably like 5 years ago, but it is old. I've never resealed it. God, I shouldn't say that right now. Let me find some wood. I've never resealed it, so I hope it stays good for a while yet.
Yeah, I bought my 125 off the marketplace from a guy down in Austin, Texas. And, you know, he was wanting like, I don't know, $250 for it or something. And it was no stand, just a tank, and he had a aqua decor background. It wasn't those big 3D ones. It was just a flat,
Okay.
you know, looking type one. Anyway, he ended up letting me have it for $100. So took it here, and I had to reseal it because as soon as I got it home, I started seeing, you know, I could grab the silicone with my fingers, pull it up. So I resealed the whole tank. Put it all back together, tested it out in the garage before I brought it in the house. I put it in, it sits right on my fireplace mantle because I don't know why Texas have fireplaces because it's too freaking hot to have a fire in your house. So I just put the fish tank right there in front of that. And I had to custom build the stand to be shorter than a normal stand because the mantle is stone and it's built into the stone wall behind it. So I had to make the stands smaller so the tank would fit up underneath there and everything. So
Nice. Very cool.
but that's probably my favorite tank. I mean, I love this 180 cichlid tank, but my 125 is that planted tank and got the Denison barbs in there and some rainbow fish. Just recently, I bought those royal trout Denison barbs. Man, those fish are just awesome.
Nice.
I saw them on Jeremy's aquarium domain on his. He
Sure.
did a video, and I saw them on one of his community tanks. He just put in there, and like, dang, those things are beautiful. I need some, so I went hunting on them. And,
Isn't it funny how you'll see fish? That's another reason why I love this hobby and love the YouTube community. You see people that get fish, and that makes you just want them. Is that a good or bad thing? I don't know sometimes, but I love it.
yeah, these are perfect fit for that tank because the Denison barbs, the rainbow fish, they're really active swimmers, and so are these royal trouts. exact same way. But you do have to have a lid on that tank, because I can sit in the living room and you can hear them dunk, 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 dunk. I mean, they're constantly hitting the plastic tops that I got on that tank, and it's crazy. And they're voracious feeders. I mean, I have to feed 3 different types of food to them: dried blackworms, freeze-dried blackworms that float on top, and then some hikari, little red things that float. And then I do some sinking pellets, because the denison barbs, they don't really come up. They tend to stay down and eat, but the rainbows and the other ones, they're top feeders. They're just like piranhas.
Nice. Yeah, I think the most ferocious feeder, well, I've had a few of them, but was early on when I've told this story, and I think in some past live streams, but my brother had got a fish tank and some community fish, as they were sold to him. And I had a couple 55-gallon tanks at that time. It was probably like a few years after I got into the hobby. And, well, that fish wound up eating all the other fish in his tank. It's like, do you want it? Because I was keeping like piranhas, and I had like fire eels and some different like little gars and stuff at the time. And I was like, sure. I took it. I don't know what this fish was until I did some research and found out that it was a snakehead. Like, no lie, like I would go to the fish store once a week and I'd get like 30 goldfish. I'd feed them once a week. I'd throw them in there, and that sucker would get like 10 of them in its mouth right off the bat. They'd be like sticking here and here and here and here. It's like, and I had to tape the lid shut for that tank.
Yeah.
Wake up in the morning sometimes, and like, I'm not lying to you, the glass lid is open. I didn't open it, but it opened it somehow. I'm assuming jumping up.
Yeah. So where did you get the snakehead? You bought it at the store?
My brother bought it from a small fish store that we had at the time in this area, and it was sold as a community fish to him. It was so long ago, I don't remember what they said it was, but yeah, it was probably like this big when he got it. So he probably thought, oh, that's cool. I'm like, no, I grew it to probably like a little, maybe about 14 inches long. And then I found out it was invasive, and I was just like, okay, I got to humanely put it down.
That's like, golly, I don't know, 15 years ago or so. I bought 2 pacu from the store, about that big. In a year, they were like 15 inches. I had them in a 100-gallon tank, and they literally broke my tank.
Yeah.
Like, I come home from work, like, my kids are there, my wife's there. I walk in the living room and I hear to the carpet. I'm looking at my tank, half the water's gone. I'm like, yo, y'all didn't notice something wrong here?
You know, that doesn't surprise me. I don't know if you watch Ohio Fish Rescue at all, but they'll rescue some of these sometimes that are in these small tanks, because they sell a lot of these fish stores. That's like one of their things. They sell these things as little fish that are okay in your aquariums when they're not. And they get that big and they can destroy crap. Holy man, that's crazy.
Yeah. And, at the time, I didn't know about it. That's just like what you say, you go to the store and you see that fish, oh, I got to have it. Mm-hmm. And you don't do no research. That was me. I did that.
I did plenty of that when I first got into the hobby, especially. Now I do way too much research where I overthink things. But but yeah, back then it was just like, ooh, I like that. I want that. I like that. I want that.
It was lucky. I had a spare tank out in my shed. It was 55 gallons. So I picked it up and stuck it outside the window where that other tank was, drained the rest of the water in there, threw the fish in there, drained the rest of the busted tank out, carried it outside, poured water back into the busted tank, put the fish back in there, brought the 55 gallon in there, set it up, filled it up with water, put the fish back in there. And then I went to, they're not in business anymore, but there was a local fish store, like a mom and pop store. And I told her, I says, hey, I got some pacus. I don't want them. I don't want them either. I said, you got a 300 gallon tank here. I says, how about I just give them to you? She's finally, okay, I'll take them. So I brought them down to her and we threw them. She goes, those are freaking huge. Sorry. So I didn't want them.
Well, if you think about it, like truly, the stores that sell these fish and don't advertise them for truly what they are. I mean, that the hobbyist who buys them has to take some partial blame in it, but you buy these fish, they get too big, and I no wonder why in areas like where you live in Florida and stuff where it's warm all the time, you get all these invasive species in waterways because people throw them out because they don't know what to do with them.
Yeah.
It's like one of those cycles where I really believe there needs to be more education at every level of this hobby, because I was in that spot too for starting this hobby, not knowing about what I was doing or what I was buying or anything like that. I think there should be some accountability from the fish store, from the people that are selling the fish to the fish store, to the hobbyists that have some kind of information to understand really what you're buying, the parameters, the tank sizes, the expectations are from these fish, so people know ahead of time. Not that they buy these little tiny fish and think they're cool, and like you said, those pacu get monsters, break your tank, and then they get thrown into a local lake or river somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It would be nice if they would say, okay, you talk to the people that want to buy them. If they don't have the right setup, sorry, I can't sell them to you.
Yep. And Jorge said in here, don't make the giant fish so cheap either. That's another big thing.
Yeah. That's a fact.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's numerous things that are kind of, there are so many benefits to this hobby nowadays. I just kind of made a video on this that will be out in a few weeks, but really how the hobby's progressed over the 30 years I've been in it. There are so many benefits to it, but there are also so many downfalls and some things that really have never been addressed. And I think that's part of it. There are obviously some more local fish stores, I think, that are probably more in tune and on top of really what they're selling and advising the people that are buying them better compared to maybe some of the bigger chain stores. I can't speak for all of them, but I'm just guessing compared to the ones I go to anyway. My chain stores in town here, they don't really typically ask you what size tank do you have? What are these going in? So.
Yeah, I mean, that would be nice if they did that more. But even like where I'm at, I don't have any mom and pop stores anymore close by. I have to go either to Austin, San Antonio, or Dallas.
Yeah.
And I just, I don't drive that far. So, but yeah, I mean, we have Petco and PetSmart. And then there's another one. It's a chain store. I forget the name of it, Pet something, but I've been to their store like 2 or 3 times, and every time I've gone there, all their tanks are not for sale, because they've got disease, and their tanks, they have a small row of tanks, maybe six tanks wide, and probably 5 tanks high, but they're all on one filtration. So one fish gets sick, it goes through the whole thing.
Yep.
They get ick all the time, and it goes through all their fish, and then they can't sell them.
Well, you think about it, there's probably really no quarantine process at all for any.
Oh yeah.
Like you said, they're all filtered off the same system. So I've seen it when I've gone into like my local PetSmart. They got their fish shipment in, they're in their boxes, and they take them out and they're throwing them right into all the tanks. There is no quarantine process. And unfortunately, yeah, you get one tank that's sick, you're going to get all of them that are going to wind up potentially being sick. I know a local fish store. It's not local, it's a few cities away. Great owner, and I like the store, but I don't really think he quarantines much either, because you will see a lot of tanks when you go in there under quarantine. And when I would sell fish to him, he puts them right in the tank. So like that kind of, and there's no guarantee walking out the door, you know what I mean, with your fish.
Right.
If you walk out that door and it dies, that's on you. And you spend a lot of money on these fish. So I really believe there should be, I get it, there's an additional cost to quarantining fish. And that's probably something these big box stores don't want to take on. They rather just sell them, get them out the door, give you a 2-week guarantee. If a fish dies, well, maybe they'll bring it back. Maybe they won't. Maybe we're still going to make some money off of it. So
yeah,
I get the scheme of it. I don't know. Don't really agree with it completely, because I think it's kind of a downfall a little bit of the hobby as well. because especially a lot of people that go to these stores like PetSmarts and Petco's, and again, I'm not saying all of them are bad, but I think they set these beginners up to basically fail to be able to come back. I made a video on that already, so I won't get back into that. But yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I think my Petco that's here, what I see them do is they'll get new fish in there and they'll turn the lights off on it and they'll put a sticker on there so they're under observation for like a day or two. And after that, they turn the light on and there you go.
Yeah.
That's their quarantine. But it's all about business and making money. That's the bottom line, what it is.
And I get it. I absolutely get it to an extent. Obviously, especially some of these people that are importing these fish in from overseas, it's not cheap. So you want to make some of that money back. Unfortunately, I don't think you're really guaranteed what you're getting in if they're going to be sick or healthy. And unfortunately for me, if I got fish from somewhere and they were sickly and I knew they weren't being quarantined, I personally probably wouldn't want to go back there again. So for me, I would think more of a business model. I'd want to be dependable. And yes, I may incur a little bit more loss on the fish, but at least I know I'm going to make my customers happy and they're going to be returning.
Yeah. And just like you said, not all of the stores are bad.
Not at all.
The employees over at the Petco, there's a couple of them over there that are very knowledgeable and they're really willing to help. And then if I go to my PetSmart, that's kind of just the opposite. It's like they hired this teenager off the street and he's looking for a summer job and he don't have a clue what he's doing. And, you tell them, okay, I want to get that fish. And they're in there with this net trying to get a fish out. Like, dude, I can get it out a whole lot quicker without all that splashing and everything else.
You know how many times I've been in there, like I was getting like snails or something, and I'm just like, can I just do this for you?
Right.
I've told this story before too, but my local PetSmart, okay, every time I go in there, there's dead fish everywhere. There's cyanobacteria. A lot of the tanks are just disgusting. I'm going to be completely honest. I already have a full-time job. I applied and put an application in because I wanted to just clean the tanks. Just go in there once a week and just clean the tanks. They never call me back.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But let's see who's in the chat here.
I see.
I have seen Jose Joy Fish Keeping, Jorge from Mexicali Fish Keeping, Keith from KG Aquatics. I saw Stubbs before earlier, Chris from Stubbs Aquatics. Let's see. Sweet Polly, how's it going? Uncle Smiley's Aquariums. Tommy from the Aquatic News Network.
All right.
Aquatics. Edgar's Fish Channel. I think we're caught up there. So,
yeah. If I don't say hi to all of y'all, it's because trying to talk and watch the chat is.
No,
I'm not good at that.
I think I admit it at almost every live stream. I'm terrible at looking at the chat, especially with how I do it right now. It's a little better now because I got my little laptop on the side of me. But when I used to do it, it was just on my phone here, and the chat's so small, and I got to sit there and like scroll up and down. So now I'm keeping an eye on the computer here. But if there was questions specifically for you, I'd bring them up. But if anyone does have questions, you can pop them up in the chat right now. And now, Stan as well is here from Redneck Aquariums. How's it going? Stan wants to know where in Texas you are. That he's in. I can't pronounce that. I'm going to put it up here.
He's in Nacogdoches.
Nacogdoches. All right.
That's where he's at. So I'm in Temple, Belton, Killeen area. I live in actual Harker Heights.
Nice.
It's right outside of Fort Hood.
Okay. Get off. Oops. All right. I got another question because this is an off-topic subject, but are you into football, like NFL football?
I used to watch football until they started kneeling for the national anthem, and I turned it off, and I'm ex-military, 21 years I served, and you disrespect our country, I got nothing to do with you no more. So I don't watch it.
Yeah, I'm addicted. I watch it. I'd never agreed with that though, so I will be honest with you that. The point is I am a big fantasy football fanatic and nut. I put a post on my channel, probably it was this week sometime, that I had the idea of starting a fantasy football league with YouTube fish creators, and that we could have there's no money involved. It would just be like at least 10 people. And if we could get 10 people together and we could come up with some punishment for the loser, the person that came in last, whether it be we get some kind of silly t-shirt and he's got to wear it on a live stream or something weird like that. You know what I mean? So I'm putting it out there formally to anyone that's watching. I know a few people have said they'd be interested, but if you're interested in a fantasy football league here with our FishTube creators, our fish fam, let me know. Get on my Patty's Aquatics at Gmail or hit that link up, or not the link, that post that I have on my channel, and go on there and let's get a football league together, fantasy football league together.
Yeah, when I did watch football, I'm an anti-Dallas Cowboys. I can't stand them. Jerry Jones needs to go. But I was a diehard New York Giants. I was born and raised in upstate New York, and always been a Giants fan. My dad, my uncles, we used to all watch and curse and go crazy when the Giants would play real good all 3 quarters. Then the 4th quarter, they just fall off and act like a dang fool and lose the game. But we loved them.
Yeah, I believe green and gold, the Green Bay Packers, living here in Packer country.
Yeah.
Peplin Creek says that Chattanooga Ed has some of those fish fam leagues already. I did hear that from numerous people. I haven't seen any information on it yet, but if he does, I will jump in one of those as well if I can. Otherwise, I still would like to get this one together because I think it would be fun. What did Tommy say here? I was about to say the last time I watched football was during the Deion Sanders, Emmitt Smith, and Troy Aikman days. Yeah, that's been a little while.
Just a few.
Yeah, I don't know. I've watched it pretty much my entire adult life. I don't know. I've always been hooked on it, and then fantasy football kind of got back into it with when I met my wife and her whole family was doing it, and I got into a fantasy football league. So we have one with just our family. So I have work ones too. So I'm actually in 4 leagues right now, and I want to add more because I'm insane. And so we have a family one basically where it's like all her brothers and some of the sister-in-laws and cousins and their wives and their kids. And we have 2 leagues now because we have so many people. And we have we call it an A and a B league. So basically the A league is for the winners and the B league is for the losers. So every year, if you don't make the playoffs, if you don't make the playoffs in the A league, you go to the B league. If you make the playoffs in the B league, then you go to the A league the next year. So it keeps swapping and make it kind of interesting. So
do you have a C league for the super losers like I would be?
Honestly, you want to be completely honest, people that don't play fantasy football and they auto draft their teams, they wind up winning it sometimes, and it gets frustrating.
Yeah, I've never played in a fantasy football league, and I don't know that I would know how.
Yeah, I mean, it's truly not that difficult. If you're interested, I could always explain it to you, but that's completely up to you, no pressure. I did start a league through work because talking about people that don't pick their own teams, they auto draft, what it's called. They let the computer do it for them. We made fun of them, and basically I started a new league with them. So it's the whole league there at work. It's called the Do Nothing League. So basically I got rid of all the bench players and I have all the regular players, and that's all that's going to get drafted. It's all going to be auto drafted. You can't make any substitutions if anyone's hurt during the season. Those players are the ones you got to start all season long. And it's just winner takes all, and we'll see what happens. I think it'd be kind of an interesting experiment. But
sweet. Hey, I'm gonna step off 1 second. I got to get me a bottle of water. I'm thirsty.
All right. Who else is online? Tommy, the only one allowed to be going. is only one allowed to be going on at one time? Do you mean like a league or what?
You finish it?
No, we're still yakking. I'm just thirsty.
I'm gonna chat here.
I guess you all probably heard me.
Chatting or yakking.
Telling my wife, I'm just yakking. I forgot I was still mic'd up.
Jorge said Mexicali fish keeper. Fantasy football sort of ruined football for me. I was a diehard Raiders fan, but with fantasy football, I sometimes root against them because of fantasy football. Tell me about it, brother. My worst thing is when I'm a Packer fan, obviously, and I have playing against somebody that has Packers on their team. So it's like, you want the Packers to win, but you really don't want those players to score. It's like, anyone but them. And then the worst is, because I'm someone that has I'm in 4 leagues right now, more hopefully, that you'll have one player that you have on your team, you're rooting for him to play or to do good, but then you're playing against that same player in another league. What do you do? Yeah, I know. It's a very crazy situation. It's one of my few addictions. Like I said, in life here with me, my biggest addictions are fish, this whole fish hobby, football, and fantasy football. Those are like my big 3. And now I added also this mobile game that I'm playing now with my whole family. Well, I used to play years ago. We got back into that, and it's just crazy, called Clash of Clans. It's just like, my wife gets annoyed with me because I'm always on my phone doing something fish related. I'm like, no. Fantasy football, no. Clash of Clans, yep. It's like, pick one of the 3. If I'm on my phone, that's usually what I'm doing.
Yeah, I see that ad all the time. It pops up on any app, Clash of Clans, it's like,
Yeah, I started playing that when I was working third shift, probably 12 years ago or 11 years ago, something like that. And a few of us at work were all playing it. And I was a maintenance worker at that time, so I didn't have to work on the line. And I'd be like, "Oh, your troops are ready to battle." So I'd be sitting there on the side going, "Okay, I'm ready to go." Like all night long. This is freaking crazy. Then I got away from it because it got boring. But then my 2 younger nephews were still playing when they were little kids in it with me at that time. And then they got me hooked and started playing again. And then we got their dad playing and got a whole crew of people playing. So it's been kind of fun for now. I'm sure it'll kind of wear out after a while.
So what do you do for a living? What do you do for work?
I work at a manufacturing company that makes toilet seats in Sheboygan Falls, Bemis Manufacturing. So what we do is we make toilet seats and toilet covers and they get produced together. So the plant I'm in, they mold the seats and the covers, and then the department I'm in is the finishing department, where they basically get painted, and then they go to the next department where they get hinged together and they get shipped out. So that's what I do Monday through Friday, sometimes Saturday when we're busy, and they make me work because we're on a 6-day work week, even though we don't really ever do that.
So you should be like Tim Taylor and make a powered seat. and heated and all that,
Nice. I think they do have heated ones, but there's another plant that we have. It's all plastic products. They make plastic seats there too. I believe they have them there. They do have some type of a heated seat there. It is kind of interesting. Not to get too graphic, but bidets, they make those as well. And those, let's just say, once you go bidet, you never go back.
Yeah.
Sweet Polly says Kohler makes stuff like that. Yeah, I think Kohler does make some seats. I know we make some Kohler seats for them, the wood ones for sure. I don't know if we make their plastic seats for them, but we definitely make their wood seats for Kohler.
Yeah, all our toilet seats are those ones that, they slowly come down so they don't slam. And then if I go to someplace else and they don't have that style, I don't think about it, and I just tap it like, wham.
Yeah, absolutely. You know how many years I went without a slow close, and my wife and kids would always like whap, whap, whap. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is driving me crazy. So when I started working there, I had slow close ones. I'm like, I'm buying this. I never not got a slow close since then.
Yeah.
But anyway, is there anything else you want to talk about, buddy?
Well, I think we've hit just about everything, I think.
Right. Well, it's been fun having you on. It was great to get a little more talking face to face, like I said, through the cameras here. Like I say, you're one of the few close people that I have here on YouTube that I talk to, and I feel as if I, more of a life. I could be good friends with you if we live next to each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, it was great to have you on here, and yeah, I enjoy watching your videos too. So if you're not subscribed to Scotty's channel, Razin Fishes, make sure you hit that sub button for him. I believe I put it in the description of the video or this live stream too. So if you click on there, that link should be in there for you guys if you are not subscribed. So get on there if you're not, because he's got lots of cool content on there, always showing what he's doing, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I'm not very organized. I just film and I throw it out there and see what
There's nothing wrong
sticks.
with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I honestly, if you want to be completely honest with me, I love making those kind of videos more than the ones where I sit down and plan out and have to do all this B-roll stuff. I find them enjoyable at the process of it, but really to be able to sit here and just take the camera and be like, I'm doing this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. There's just something cool about it. That's kind of why I got into this YouTube thing to begin with. So it was really just to kind of show what I'm doing. So
Yeah, this is only the third time I've been on a live stream. Jesse had me on a live stream for about 10 minutes or so. It was my very first time. I was a nervous wreck. And then Jorge from Mexicali Fish Keepers, we were on there for a couple hours. So that was really my first big time on the live. And I appreciate it, how Jorge picked me out of all the YouTubers, I don't know. But then after, seeing him for a while, he does a lot of work with newer fish keepers or newer YouTubers and brings them to light. It's really cool what he does.
Absolutely. I think what Jorge does for the hobby, this YouTube community, is it's a very good thing. It's very important, in my opinion. Like you said, he shows light to some of these smaller channels and people that might not know who they are. And like I said, I think that's a great thing for the hobby in this community. Really, it showcases more people, so there's more people out there to be able to see what's going on around them. Like when I first got into this, I had no idea that there was a plethora of YouTube channels out there. I only knew the big ones that I watched, and that was it. Until I found out about all these other channels. I'm like, oh, wow.
Yeah, I really enjoy the smaller channels. The bigger channels, you get on a live with them. It's really impersonal. You get on like Jesse's or Jorge's or, all these smaller channels. They'll at least recognize you if you say hello in the chat or whatever. And the bigger channels, they don't even hardly acknowledge you. So it's like,
No. Yeah.
To me, I like the smaller channels. It's just more personal and you get more interaction, and I like that better.
Yeah, I don't watch, I have a hard time keeping up with my YouTube watching videos sometimes. I still subscribe to some of the bigger ones that I used to watch, but there's so many other ones that I watch of other channels around, my sub level and below that I enjoy watching probably more. I'll watch the aquarium co-ops and Ohio Fish Rescues and King of DIY and some other stuff like that. But my time of watching YouTube more revolves around more of my friends on here and people that I enjoy, because it's going to be more of a realistic approach, I think, in my opinion anyway. But
just be honest, Clash of Clans takes up your time.
I'm not gonna lie, I was going to come back this morning. I couldn't sleep. It was 3:34. I was like, okay, I have 2 videos I wanted to film yet. I have off Monday, so I had time to do it. But I'm like, I'm going to do it now, get it over with, and I have the rest of the time off just to sit back and relax. I woke up, I'm just like, Yeah, I feel like going on my phone and playing Clash of Clans instead. So that's what I did. So tomorrow morning is my goal to get up and do my filming. And if that doesn't happen, then it'll be Monday when my wife's at work and I have off. I have vacation on Monday. So
I see in the chat that Tommy's saying Jesse has 22,000 subs. Is that still small? I didn't realize he had that many subs. But I still like watching Jesse. He's a character.
Yeah. I mean, it's small compared to some of the big ones.
Yeah.
And it's different when you know a person when you first started and they didn't even have 1,000 subscribers like a year ago. So
yeah, like me.
Yeah.
I mean,
so you get a connection with these people.
I mean, I've been on YouTube. Well, I'm going on my 6th year, and I'm just now reaching over 1,000 here. I don't know, a few months back. I mean, it's still growing slowly, but I mean, if it grows, it grows. If it doesn't, I'm still having fun. That's all that matters.
Absolutely. Like I said, when I first did this YouTube thing, it was a joke. It was for fun. It still is for fun. But then for a little while there, then I'm like, okay, yeah, I want to do this. I want to do that. But then it was just like, you kind of get burnt out. And I'm still kind of burnt out on the YouTube thing a little bit. That's why this live streams I have kind of went away for a while. And my videos have kind of been like, I try to film like a few of them in a row so I could just take a few weeks off and not do anything. And there's days where it's just like, do I really need to make a video? I mean, there's people that don't put videos out for weeks, right? I try to be consistent because I like to put one out every Friday, and that's how I always started with it. But yet I don't want to put out a video just to put out a video. It's like, if it's something I want to put out and do that, that's cool. But like I said, I kind of felt a little burnt out. And the live streaming, when I was doing it before, doing it every week, kind of was burning me out because it was becoming to be like a job. And I don't want to work unless it's something I really so, that's why 2 weeks ago, Sean from Noisy Aquatics talked me into coming back with the live stream. And that's how the Waterline was kind of born. And I was like, okay, well, I want to create a new live stream, but I have to have a new title for it because I'm already using Beyond the Dirt for my video series. And so I came up with this, but I'm not going to do it every week. I'm going to do it here and there. I'll have guests on sometimes maybe not. But like I said, it's going to be here and in between, nothing scheduled. It's going to be like, okay, I feel like doing this week. Let's find someone to come on, or let's find something to talk about. And that's just how it's going to be. And I think that's going to make me not be burned out about these anymore. So.
Yeah, and I appreciate you working with me because I know you wanted to do them all on Sundays, but Sundays I'm tied up in church. I do the video and sound for the church, so I'm there Sunday morning, Sunday evenings, Wednesday, and anytime we have anything special, because I got to run the sound and stuff. So those days are just hard for me to do anything on YouTube.
No, I get it. Sundays really was only a day for me because it was the one day I know I never would have to work. And it was a day where if I did it in the morning, I knew it was before we had to do any type of family activities if we did. So it was just a guaranteed time that I knew I could do it. But I wanted to get you on. I have since I had Beyond the Dirt. So like I said, when I reached out to you, it's like I had nothing going on this weekend. My wife is on call till after 3, which she didn't get called in, so we're good. So I knew I wasn't going anywhere. So I'm just like, I told her, I was like, I'm going to have a live stream on Saturday. She's like, I don't care. So I'm like, all right, perfect. First, I got to check with the boss.
Well, that's awesome. Well, like I say, I do appreciate you bringing me on, and for all you in the chat, I appreciate you watching. And if I didn't say hi, I'm saying hi late.
All right. Well, I think we'll end it here then. It's been almost an hour and a half. Again, I appreciate you coming on. If you haven't subbed to Scotty's channel, Razin Fishes, make sure that you do. It'd be greatly appreciated. And as well, like I mentioned earlier, with that fantasy football league, if you're interested, hit me up at pattiesaquatics@gmail.com. If not, everyone have a beautiful Saturday. And this is the Waterline, where there's no lids, no filters, and only real talk here in the fish room. We'll see you guys again next time.
Later. Bye-bye.
See you later.